The mystery of Abraham, the journey of God's chosen one, the story they never told you, the whisper that broke the world. Long before empires, before kings and priests, before the laws, the temples, the miracles and the martyrs, there was a voice. A whisper that pierced the silence of a desert night. That voice didn't thunder. It didn't shout. It simply called one man. Go. That man. A nomad. A wanderer. A question wrapped in skin. His name was Abram. He wasn't famous. He wasn't powerful. But he was chosen. And from that moment on, nothing in history would ever be the same. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. These words ignited the greatest spiritual journey ever recorded. But what few realize is, this wasn't just a test of obedience. This was a cosmic collision between comfort and destiny, between bloodlines and eternity, between everything Abram knew and everything God was about to reveal. He left everything, not for riches, not for a throne, but for a promise whispered in the dark. But here's the twist, that promise came with a price. Because when God calls you, He calls all of you. Your roots, your beliefs, your loyalty, your logic. And He burns them on the altar of transformation. The altars and the silence. Abram wandered. He built altars. He followed clouds. He listened for that same whisper. But often, he heard nothing. This is the part most people skip over. Between the mountaintop promises and miraculous encounters were years of silence. Years of desert. Years of wondering if he'd made a mistake. Imagine leaving your entire life behind. Your home, your people, your identity. Only to walk through lands of strangers, famine, and fear. To your descendants I will give this land. But Abram had no children. And the land. It was filled with enemies. So what did he do? He built another altar. Every time he heard nothing. Every time he felt forgotten. He didn't quit. He sacrificed. And in that pattern, we uncover the hidden key to spiritual power. Those who build altars in the silence unlock promises in the fire. Abram didn't need signs. He needed faith. And that faith, forged in deserts and silence, would one day shape nations. But faith without struggle isn't faith. It's fantasy. And soon, Abram's journey would take a darker turn. Because before a promise becomes reality, it must survive the test. The covenant of blood. One night, God appeared again. But this time, not as a whisper. He came as fire. Abram was asked to prepare a strange ritual. Animals split in half. Blood soaking the earth. A path carved between sacrifice. It was a covenant. But not like any human contract. This was divine. Ancient. Eternal. And as darkness fell, something terrifying happened. A deep sleep fell upon Abram, and horror and great darkness fell upon him. Then, in the midst of that horror, God spoke. Know for certain your descendants will be strangers in a land not their own. It was not the promise Abram expected. It was prophecy of slavery, suffering, 400 years of oppression, but also deliverance, glory, destiny. This is the mystery of Abraham most people never hear. The promise came packaged in pain. God didn't just offer land. He offered legacy. But legacies cost blood. Abram would never see the full promise. But his obedience would echo through history. This is what it means to be chosen. To walk in the dark, trusting a voice only you heard. The laughter of the impossible. Time passed. Abram grew old. The promise of a son became a cruel joke. And then, God spoke again. You will be called Abraham, the father of many nations. And Sarai, she would be Sarah. The problem? They were nearly 100 years old. So when the angel said Sarah would have a child, she laughed. And God responded. Why did Sarah laugh? Is anything too hard for the Lord? This was not just about biology. It was about belief. God waited until their bodies were as good as dead, to prove that his promises come through power, not probability. And in that moment, the impossible happened. A womb reopened. A prophecy awakened. A boy was born. His name was Isaac, which means laughter, because when God fulfills a promise, he turns your mockery into miracle. But just when Abraham thought the trials were over, God whispered again. And this time, the test would cut deeper than ever before. The knife and the mountain. Take your son, your only son, whom you love, and offer him as a burnt offering. These words are some of the most terrifying in Scripture. God gave Abraham a son, and now he asked for him back. This wasn't about cruelty. It was about faith perfected in fire. Abraham climbed Mount Moriah with wood, fire, and a knife. But more importantly, he climbed with obedience. Isaac asked, "Where is the lamb?" Abraham answered, "God will provide." That's not just faith. That's surrender. That's knowing God's character more than his instructions. As the knife rose, heaven watched. And then, intervention. "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know you fear God." A ram appeared, caught in a thicket. God did provide. But the real gift wasn't the ram, it was revelation. The journey of Abraham wasn't about blessings. It was about becoming. Becoming the kind of man who could carry promise, pain, and power without being destroyed. Abraham died with a promise still unfolding. He never saw the multitudes. He never ruled a nation. But he believed. And that belief made him righteous. His faith wasn't passive. It was wild, dangerous, risky. He walked when there was no map. He sacrificed when there was no logic. He trusted when there was no reason. This is why Abraham is the father of faith. Not because he was perfect, but because he was willing. Willing to leave. Willing to wander. Willing to sacrifice. Willing to believe. And his legacy lives on. Not just in Israel. Not just in the church. But in every person who hears that same whisper. Go. Go beyond fear. Go beyond logic. Go beyond comfort. Because on the other side is purpose. Abraham's life teaches us one final truth. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. So, what is the mystery of Abraham? It's not in the sand or stars. It's in the silence between the steps. It's in the fire between the promises. It's in the God who calls ordinary people to do extraordinary things. If God could use a barren man to build nations, what can he do with you? You don't need it all figured out. You just need to say yes when the whisper comes. Because the journey of the chosen always begins with one word: go. Thank you for watching this video. We kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Also, turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified about our future uploads. See you in the next video.